Hey everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the Cover Band Show. This is a show that we're trying out once a month. We did one last month and yeah, it's got some interest, so we're doing episode number 2. And my co-host and partner in crime in this and another veteran of the cover band scene is my brother, Denskilmusic. Hey man, how's it going?
Good, good. How you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. We got a few people in here. Let me just say a few quick hellos and then we'll get to the topic of the day. We got Sean. Hey Sean, how are you? Been a long time, can't stay. Yeah, thanks for popping in, Sean. Appreciate it. There's Quentin. Quentin has joined us. PJ Colby, welcome. Gary Joyce, how are you? Ron Limber. There's Larry. Lars Guitars. Nice to see you. Hope everybody's doing well. So today we're going to talk about set lists. And this is a topic. I mean, we talked about it off air before, and this could turn into like a three-parter. Like, I mean, there's so much involved with set list. It's not just a matter of picking the songs. There's the order. There's tweaking it to different bars. There's and then what you can do. Anyway, there's a lot to it. There's a hell of a lot involved with set lists. Joe Hervey, welcome. Gary Joyce, nice to see you. So, um, like you're now working with a couple of bands, and you're walking in now with established set lists, right? Of things that you're gonna go with, right?
hmm
And
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and I mean, so as someone who's played, and done quite a few bar gigs, like what are your feelings about, because one thing that's big with set lists is the pacing. How are you finding the pacing? Is it kind of in an order that sort of makes sense to you,
Yeah,
or sort of want
yeah. That's a good question. There's tons to unpack. Pacing being like a convenient way to how does the set go? Does it flow up and down? Are you putting people to sleep at certain times? We would, the general rule of thumb that I'd use in my previous cover bands was level of uh, basically how close you are like to the opening, to the beginning of the evening, how close you are to the beginning of the night. Basically the old adage, like the drunker you get, the better we sound, right?
right?
you
Yeah,
know we put up, dancier numbers, kind of in the middle, get the crowd warmed up with some, you got to bring them in, right? You got to
yeah,
first, catch their attention and bring them in, especially when it's early in the night. The bar or establishment might not be full,
mm,
right? You got to think of, like, are you going to play all your, blow out your drummer, as well? Like, the pacing of the band is like the physical capability of the band is also part of the pacing thing too, right?
yeah. The singing, especially the vocals. If you've got some really demanding songs, you might want to save them for later instead of earlier. Like with what we try to do is, the first set, I'm not going to say it's a throwaway,
hmm
but you want to sort of put your lighter pitches, sort of your that.
Surefires, yeah.
Yeah, you don't, you might want to keep a couple of gems in there, maybe towards the end of it, because generally what happens in the places that we play is like the first set, because normally we play like a restaurant that then turns into like a bar, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, people might still be finishing up their meals, this and that, and then there's that whole, yeah, can you turn down all that kind of baloney. So you're not going to be playing your hard hitting rock and stuff at that point. You're going to play sort of, you're gonna pitch your softballs at that point. Put a couple there maybe at the end. Generally, I find is that it's the second set that's really the most important,
Oh
because
yeah.
that's the one that, if they're showing up, that's when they've arrived, and that's when you want to. The thing is, like you said, bring them in. We look at more as we want to hold them.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah.
feel like, oh yeah, all these guys are going to do is this, and then, you know what I mean. So you got to have enough variety. You got to have stuff that's going to get them up and moving, and you want to try and get people on the dance floor. That's the big,
Well,
right. and you want to hold them on the dance floor, you know, which ties into another thing, that whole sort of rapid fire,
Oh
like
yeah.
one after the other, bang, 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 right?
No delays, no delays, no bending down and turning around, and that's a crowd killer, man. If you got that dance floor hopping,
Yeah,
you just gotta keep throwing the hits out.
you
Get
know,
throw a few sing along tunes in there. That people know the words to, that they can sing along with. Just get them moving and keep them moving, like you said. Once it's like catching a fish. Throw the bait out, reel them in, fight them till you keep pull them and then hold on to them, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, we got, speaking of sing-alongs, we got two really big ones that we kind of
Mm.
close, generally are always sort of the last two songs
Yep.
that leave everybody kind of happy and
Yeah, man.
wanting
Yep.
you to come back and do another one, right? You know, but and then sometimes, like, depending on the crowd, you know, I mean, the set list, like, we just, hey, do this one instead of that one, or let's play, whatever. Like, stuff could get changed on the fly as well, because you tweak it, you think you got something that's going to work, but then depending on the crowd and the response, you may want to, like, move stuff up and move stuff down. So
Yeah.
you got to be able to, but that being able to do that, that's just from knowing the material really well and doing a lot of shows, right? Because the sets
Yeah.
are not, for us, they're never in concrete. They can change.
That's good. That's a really useful thing to have, is that agility to, someone might call, whatever, tip you guys $100 and say, hey, can you play me some whatever, right?
Yeah,
And like, what are you gonna do, right?
yeah,
Like, yeah. Oh, do you guys know any Tragically Hip? Okay, sure. Like, we'll pull that out of wherever, right?
yeah. That would be a reason to kind of, yeah. So if there was you'd play that one earlier and then substitute that one for later on.
Yeah, you just got to be able to, switch on the fly, right?
Yeah,
And like, not to get sidetracked, but the agility goes with, like, the whole band kind of being able to shift, like, including getting your own, switching your guitar sound. Singers got to pull up maybe different lyrics if they're using a lyric sheet. Whatever. You might have to change tuning if you're going to, there's a lot of stuff you got to be able to just, like, boom, 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 pick up and read
yeah.
read, read the crowd, and kind of adapt, right?
So initially, with set lists, like, what we try to, like, a lot of times at this point, it's rare do we are we playing a place for the first time, right? It's like we've been there before,
Yeah.
and so you kind of know what the crowd is, and then you tailor the set list to the crowd. So, like, we try to, when we're deciding on what songs to learn and this and that, we're trying to do, like, literally everything, every decade, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and so if you're playing a place and it's like people my age, then you're going to play a lot of 80s stuff. And it's funny enough, actually, the 80s stuff really works well on the younger people. They have even Beatles stuff they really dig, which is kind of cool. But
Yeah.
you want to, like, tailor a little more, maybe 80 strong, and then if you got like 30, 40 year olds, maybe you want to do that 90s stuff. Like, there was a song we used to open with, a Blink 182 song,
Right.
which was kind of always a throwaway because nobody was in the bar. And then we started taking that exact same song, we threw that down in the third set, and now it's like,
It's
that's
a
all
hit.
you got.
Yeah. Hmm.
So, you tailor that way too, right? So, um there's you, because at the end of the day, your job is to entertain the
Hmm.
people that are there, and to get a call back to the bar, you have to be able to, not necessarily bring people in. I mean, you really don't have any control over that, right? Whether they decide to go out on that night or go to that place or whatever. But it's more like, whoever does come, do they stay? you know
Yep.
so that's the whole thing, right? And
Yeah.
a lot of times that means you're going to play, and this took me a lot of years,
We're gonna play some dog shit.
play some crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sell your soul. You got to sell your soul for the audience, right?
It's not your show, right?
No, it's
it's
not your show.
It's yeah, no, I I used to get in battles about that all the time, not just with fellow band members, but with myself, because it's like I'd rather chew gargle with broken glass than play this song.
Right.
But it's suck it up, right? Like they're paying you. It's like you said, it's a job, right? Like certain song like and I mean it depends on like your band plays like a lot of different genres, right? So you guys can have like a wide you have a bigger field of crap to to mine, right? There's
Yeah.
way more songs that are just like, oh god, right? So
Yeah.
you at some point have to just like you said, suck it up. And if you're in a more genre or era specific band, like you're mining a certain, let's say you're doing just AC/DC covers, right? Where you're doing whatever band covers, you're in a Metallica cover band, right? I'm sure that, after a while playing those same songs, like, you're not going to love them all, right?
No.
So that I think folds back into the pacing of the show, because it's like, if you're playing a high energy show and there's a song that you absolutely hate, that can, if you're not careful, that can come out in your playing, right? Like you said, you gotta play for the audience, and you can't just like lackluster, some song or some band that you don't like. You gotta give it, you gotta. I mean, it's the crowd. Like, you're there to entertain them, and I think what you get out of it, what you put into it. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, I'm playing right now, "Summer of '69" by Bryan Adams.
Hmm.
I I've never ever liked that song. I never ever liked Bryan Adams, but I've played it enough, and I've seen enough live footage of him doing it that I'm like, holy shit, this song's actually rocks pretty hard. It's fun to freaking play on guitar. I can just rock out and just turn that snobby little voice in my head that's like, there's no minor seven chords in here.
Yeah.
There's nothing exotic here. And I'm like, wait, no, there's a guitar solo I get to wail on at the end. It's just some fun, easy rock to play on, like enjoy it for what it is, right? Enjoy it for what it is.
Like nobody is no. I mean, they're the people at a bar. They're not there to be impressed with your musical,
Yeah, they could care
right?
less, right?
And I mean, even if you have a bad night, and when you have a bad night,
Yeah.
you're the only one that knows you have a bad night. Because if they're
Oh yeah.
hearing songs that they grew up with, or
Yeah.
they will listen to on the radio, and whatever they have a history with, or they just really like, they're gonna have a reaction to it.
Oh yeah.
It might not be songs that you like,
Yeah.
and I'll we'll get request. I mean, I'll talk about Mustang Sally for one, right? There's a
Oh.
yeah, your skin crawl, you know,
Well, there's a list of them. Brown Eyed Girl.
a brown eyed girl. But I tell you what, like there's certain songs that they're money, right? They're
Oh
just
man, Money in the Bank. Yeah.
always work, right? Brown eyed girl. You know what? You start in a brown eyed girl, and you're gonna get people up, and it just I don't know why.
Oh, any CCR. It's like a
SCCR that
it's
we
like a
had,
rope.
yeah. Yeah, like we do see we started in the last weekend or 2 week whenever we did the last gig. I mean, we had the whole bar singing along with the CCR. It's just
Mm.
that's the stuff, right? And
Oh,
yeah, you gotta play it, right? So what I mean,
careful placement of those too, right? Like we're talking set
yeah,
lists, right? Very careful placement of those, right?
careful placement. Yeah, what you don't like, what you don't really want to play a lot of ballads or slow stuff because nobody really
Yeah.
wants to hear that. I mean, if you do it, you do it early. That would be like a first set thing,
Yeah.
like a slower tune. Maybe do that in the first set, but you certainly don't want to do that in the second or third because they just want to get up and they just want to,
We would do closing time songs where like the bars ring in like the bell and it's like everybody get the hell out. We'd slow it down and be like, okay, thanks everybody, stretch out like, really long song back in the 90s days just to, wind the crowd down, get them like, feeling, mellow and like, okay, drunk, so make eat life easier for the bouncers to get everybody the hell out.
Yeah, yeah,
That kind of thing. But yeah, there's a lot to consider, like, like planning the set list. And like, so I'm amazed at some acts that just have like repertoires that can just like call out songs, and it's like, let's pull this one out, let's pull this one out. There's a lot of preparation, a lot of thought going that goes into a set list, and then some people put none, right, and just know how to, okay, I'm gonna play this song, I'm gonna play this song, like I'm gonna throw it out there, you know.
and then when you're picking songs too, because we try to do it democratically. I mean,
Well,
I say that tongue in cheek because it usually doesn't work out that way. But you
well,
know, where it's like, here's a song that I want to do. Well, that's not going to go over. They won't like that. Get shot down, right? Um, so there's a lot of that, and then there's
oh yeah,
songs that you think would work, and because again, when you're picking songs that you want to cover, you got to think about, okay, like, do we have the instrumentation to do it?
mm,
Can we do it justice, right? You know,
hmm,
and sometimes, you know, you can, and then sometimes you try them a few times, and it's like, this just isn't working. You got to know when to kill it.
yeah,
Maybe a couple rehearsals, and if it doesn't click, let it go. There's
yeah,
like 1,000 other songs that you could be doing, right?
oh yeah. I mean, like, let's throwing out some, let's say you play, I don't know, three 45-minute or hour-long sets, call it 10 songs. So you have to have 30 songs, but you learn maybe 60 or 70, right? And
Yeah,
and then try and pare them down, and then it's like, see how the band actually pulls them off to see which ones work, and then those make the set list, right? And then you got to keep a couple extras in your back pocket, for encores and that kind of thing. So like,
yeah.
not every song survives the set list, and then when it does, it has to find its own little cubby hole to go in. Like, uh, I was gonna ask you, like, one thing, one rule of thumb that I always use is just kind of really let the lead singer kind of dictate the general order.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't make the set list.
yeah, I don't know if you guys do that too, eh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And what I do, like, is sometimes somebody will want to do a song that I cringe at,
yeah,
but then we start doing it, and then you know because there are some songs that you can you'll know which ones you can have a little bit of liberty with, and other ones that you kind of got to do it like note,
right.
right, perfect. Well, that being said, I don't all my solos are pretty much off the top of my head. I don't memorize and play solos note for note. I'll pick
You're
my
you're damn lucky, man.
Yeah, no, I don't have the stomach for that. It's like, I just pick out the hooks, and then I
Right.
link them with, or I just improvise the whole thing, depending again how much liberty you have. But what's cool is, I'll hear, oh man, that song's going to be real lame, but then we play it
Yeah.
and it sounds not bad. And then
Yeah, in
when
the
we do it
context of the band, right?
right, and then when we do it in a bar, it gets a reaction. You're like, oh wow, I didn't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you take a song that you're still playing the song, but we do it our way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't have this
A little bit of a remix idea.
didn't yeah, like a remix. It didn't have this feel to it. So I made, and we, there's a couple songs I can think of that were like, just like, for real, you really want to do this, but then we rock it up and it actually turns out to be really cool and it gets a great reaction.
Yeah.
So those are nice surprises, right? And those
Mm-hmm.
generally, and
Oh yeah, you can find their way into key spots in the sets for sure, right?
yeah, yeah, and and like, I don't know how you guys do it, but if we do have a new song come in and we start playing it, we've dropped a shit ton of songs too. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I think
like,
that's normal.
yeah, like, we'll do a song for a while, and if it gets okay, oh, well, that went over good, and then the next few times, kind of lukewarm, whatever. Yeah, yeah. We'll if a song 3 4 gigs doesn't really
Hit, yeah,
sparkle
or
it,
stick, yeah.
that's out. You
Yep.
know.
Yeah, it's healthy to keep or like any people know what I'm talking about when I say a Rolodex, but like they should know what I'm talking about
Yeah, yeah. There's
for this audience.
for this audience.
But a Rolodex, like rotating list of songs, and just like, okay, this one doesn't go, psh, rip it out, right? Put a new one in. Um, I went, I like I was saying, I let the singer kind of dictate the set list. But when I look at it and I think of it as a guitar player, I try and map it out like with what I'm going to be using with my guitar sounds and where my solo is going to be and like what are the harder songs to play. Like because like right now, like for example, in my current cover band, our first set's pretty keyboard heavy, right? So there's not a lot of guitar in there. However, we're throwing Rush's Limelight in there.
Uh,
Uh, so I'm like, yeah, like I thought I had it easy the first set, right?
yeah,
But like that song is a mother, like any Rush is a mother, right?
yeah,
So I'm like, okay, like I've got it easy on these other tunes, like more atmospheric, laid back parts. Sometimes even no guitar, so I'm just like floating along, right? Like just doing some easy rhythm parts. But then I'm mapping out ahead what the rest of the set looks like, and like figuring out, okay, what are my patch changes going to be? Like you're playing the current song, but you're like, okay, this is the path I'm going to have to go, like tonally, basically, like and physically, because yeah, I do. In some songs, like we do, like I do have to play this. I don't have to play the solos note for note, but like I don't know. It's just more authentic that way. It's just something that I'm kind of anal about, I guess.
yeah, yeah,
Some solos you just got to nail, right? Like
yeah. I
thank
mean, iconic ones. I agree. Like you said, Limelight. Yeah, you got to play that
you
right.
got to play. Thank God that solo's with the other guitar player. I'm like, whoo. He's been
Yeah.
practicing it for years, but like, yeah, pulling off any Lifeson solo, like that's not a walk in the park, man.
No, no, no,
So
no.
and in my old cover band, like we'd play tunes like uh, Crazy Train, right, which has like a crazy guitar solo. So
Yeah,
I'd have to like kind of psych myself up for that stuff so that like you kind of nail it. Sweet Child of Mine. You try. Man, I worked hours and hours and hours on that one, right? Just because you want to get the tone and the feel, because people are practically singing along with the guitar solos, right? When they're that
yeah,
iconic, right?
yeah,
So yeah, like I let the singer set up the list, but then I look at it and filter it through, like what am I going to be doing guitar wise, and like right now we're in my current band, we're playing with set lists and we're trying them out and seeing what the pacing is. We've got two guitars and keyboards, so it's a lot less legwork for me, to be like for some parts. So
yeah,
that changes the pace of the set for me, right? Like selfishly speaking, uh, I care about like what kind of venues we're playing, what the crowd is feeling, and all that stuff. But I'm also processing like my approach to the guitar, like and even silly stuff like stage presence, and like when I'm if I have to go off of a set list, for example, like off a set list, that means I got to keep an eye on it, which means I'm not connecting with the crowd, right? So it's nice to be able to just like have a set list or have a loose set of songs, and you guys just call, singer drummer calls the next one, and you just go, right? Like your
yeah.
your machine is that well oiled that you can just jump through your set list like
Yeah, you'll get that. Yeah, like
takes time.
just by doing it a lot. Like for me, because I guess I'm the lead guitar player. I play most of the solos in that. Like I don't
Yeah,
want to play a heavy lead. At least I gotta warm up. I gotta
yeah,
be at least. I don't know, 3, 4 songs in
Yeah,
where I play a solo. And in the second, and I'd rather play the heavier, like more intensive leads.
yeah,
Leave that for the second set, and then the other thing too is like if I've got a really long extended solo, I don't want to have another song right after that with another long extended solo. Like I need,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah,
but
man.
but as far like I know you've got a really elaborate setup. I do things like a Neanderthal, right? Like
Yeah.
I just I'm literally, from song to song, I'm turning off 1 or 2 pedals, turning on the other 1 or 2 pedals, and then lead boost, delay, done,
Bang, off you
stop,
go.
bang, bang, and so I don't need, and for the material that we do, I don't really need 100 different sounds. And I mean, I'm not trying to be sound like the record, you
Yeah.
know, that tone. I'm just trying to get in that ballpark because I mean, for the variety of stuff that we do,
Oh yeah, you guys go all over the place. Yeah.
we're all over the place. I mean, we just started doing an Elvis song and we're doing it
Yeah.
like Elvis. Okay,
Yeah.
like we're not having it up. It's like,
You know,
we're
playing it authentic. Yeah.
we're playing it authentically and so
That was a Gibson joke, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah. Mark's going to call me any minute. But yeah, but there's like I said, there I mean there's certain songs,
Yeah.
that again you kind of cringe at, and it took me
Yeah.
like a long time to kind of get past that. And what
Mhm.
really helps in getting past that is when you play that song that you cringe at,
Yeah.
they lose their freaking minds, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like I'll give you one example, right? This song is Money. It's Money. We've had people getting up on tables
Yeah.
when we do Sweet Caroline.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah.
You were there, right?
Yeah.
It's insanity. It's
Yeah.
insanity. The whole bar is singing along and just having the best time,
Yeah.
and I'm just hoping I don't mess it up, right? And
Yeah.
I've heard other bands do it,
Yeah.
and they don't quite do it. I don't know, right or whatever. It never quite sounds authentic, right?
It's
But
the right amount of Neil Diamond, right?
at least I mean, I'm just talking instrumentally, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, it comes off all right, and that's one of those Money songs. And I'm like, man, this is, I mean, is that something that, geez, when I'm sitting here to jam, it's not. Oh, I'm gonna play some Sweet Care.
Sweet Caroline.
Oh no, I learned that for that, and that's but yeah. But as soon as you start off like dun 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 dun, like they're already like losing their shit. You haven't even started the vocals yet, and it just
Oh yeah.
already.
There's yeah, you keep your stomach down and put those in the golden spots,
Yeah,
like you said, right at the end of a second set, get people hyped up and happy so that they're like, oh, when's the band coming back? I want to hear some more music. They
yeah,
they
yeah,
stick around.
yeah,
Like that's a big part of the pacing. Like, when I think selfishly about myself, just from the guitar perspective, it makes me think of like also like probably second and after I think of the singer coming up with the set list and doing that, I think about the drummer next, keeping up and keeping pace. Because if there's a set list that's made with like too many fast or songs in a row, or like who wants to play Rush followed by Foo Fighters, like that'll that's a tall order, right?
yeah,
So, with a lot of drummers that a lot of really amazing pro level drummers that I've played with in the past, they know how to contain themselves and kind of how to, because like they probably have the most athletic job. Like singers got it worse in the throat and like that's number one. Drummers next. For a guitar player, man, all I do is stand around and move my fingers, right? Like it's not that, maybe jump around. It's not that physically taxing, but drummer fatigue's like a big thing. You got to think, and again, with your set list, how's it going to flow if everybody, worked a full day and didn't eat dinner, or drank too much beer the night before? Your set
yeah,
list starts to go like, whoa, right? You know,
yeah. And you want some dynamics. You don't want ear fatigue to set in, right?
yeah,
Some
yeah,
dynamics You want a little bit of balance, right? You
Yeah.
know, so it's yeah,
You're
like
always
it's
playing 120, right? You're moving it up, you're taking it down, like a
yeah,
boat,
yeah.
taking
You
the
know,
crowd for a ride. But considering I think like the health of the band, like that's a big factor when you're making a set list. Like if you're looking at it and you're playing like all your fast, heavy shit at the end, because maybe you're that kind of band, or like whatever. Are you gonna blow out the drummer? Or are you gonna, like, because let's be frank, like, yeah, I mean, some songs are not as easy to play, and some of us play harder than others, and it's no matter what, if you're playing something simple or something like something complicated, it still takes something out of you, right?
oh
Some
yeah,
song. It's like, like after I play like a crazy solo, or some kind of crazy. I have problems with hardcore bar chord parts, like just
yeah,
bar
me too.
chord playing bar chords like extendedly, like over like the song "Creep" by Radiohead.
Yeah,
Not a hard song to play chordally, but just holding those bar chords like the same shape over and over again, and then you go into that crazy scribbly part at the end. It's like that's a big transition for my hand to go like rock, locked into bar chords, and then so I would request for that song to be placed, at a certain time. It's a depressing song, so I don't know why people want to hear it anyway in a bar.
yeah.
But in our '90s days, like it went over like a bomb, like the bomb. But yeah, that song, I would ask to put that in a certain spot. We used to do Everlong by the Foo Fighters, and that would kill our drummers, right? Because like that's all fast 16th notes or 37, whatever the hell those are on the hi hat. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean, you
mm,
do a lot,
mm.
a lot more intensive stuff than we do. Our stuff's a little not as intense. I mean, do we even do anything that's really intense? You know,
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we do. Like my current band does a lot of easy stuff too.
you know,
I get my backup when like we're doing things like Rush and like even stuff like Honeymoon Suite and yeah, Honeymoon Suite. Like there's some crazy guitar solos. Doing Sunglasses at Night by what's
Corey,
his Corey Hart there,
Corey
and
Hart.
that's got some crazy guitars. So I don't know who did that. I'm guessing Rick Emmett or somebody. Hopefully somebody cool like
Yeah.
that.
Quinn's
But
got a question. He says, "What do you and Dennis think about bands that only do songs that they want to play? Those bands wonder why they can't get gigs." Yeah, that's basically it. It's that when that was the thing I was talking about earlier. It's like man, I really want to do this song. I really want to do this song, but because you like it, is everybody else gonna like it? And is it a song that people can get up and move to? You know what I mean? It's so yeah. I mean, yeah, you can
yeah,
make yourself happy and have an empty bar, and you won't be coming back. I mean, there's a reason why, and I'm not saying this to boast, right? But I mean, we basically we're already booking into next year as far as August, right? Like,
I don't know. Probably a lot of the same places and maybe some new ones, right?
well, actually, there's a couple of new ones, right?
Yeah.
But like we're already booking into next year,
Yep.
and and when we book, it's not one. Like at the beginning of the year, we'll book for 3 or 4 appearances at that one bar. Because you kind of have your circuit, but you wouldn't be able to do that if your history was you go in and play and everybody
Bombing.
runs for the exits, right?
Yeah, and you bomb. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about holding the crowd and keeping the crowd. And a lot of these places, a lot of these bars, they're not the stages are really really it's not where like we're putting on a big production. Half the time I got to stand in one place.
Yeah.
All I can do is shift my weight from lake to lake cuz there's literally no room, you know. And so it's not like, we're jumping around and whatever. There's none of that. I mean, you're just
Mm.
standing there pump, cranking out song after song
Yeah,
after.
you're a jukebox basically.
Yeah, you're basically a jukebox, right? But I mean, but again, getting back to like, even though you're not playing all songs that you like, you do pick your spots.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain songs that I really like playing.
Yeah.
So out of, like in a typical night, okay, we're probably doing 45 to 50 typical night. Like usually but in that range, right? That's like, 2 hours and a 45 or 3 hours or what. That's usually where we're at. That's where we end up, right? And honestly, out of that 50, I probably like playing 10, maybe maybe 15, honestly, right? The
Ooh,
rest
rough.
are just, but the crowd is right into it. But like I get to pick my
Yeah.
spots, like, we'll do rock and roll all night, I'll play a Kiss song. I'll do my Ace Frehley impression, um a cheap trick, and I get to do my Rick Nielsen
You got
impression.
you got to have some fun somewhere, right?
That's where I'm really getting in, and then there's other songs that I'm not crazy about, but I get a solo in them.
Yeah.
Like I don't solo in every single song. I'd say it's probably maybe 85-90% of the ones that I do a solo in. And I do like playing solos. And I do how I keep it interesting for me is that I improvise them. Now, some of them I have to play the same every time because there's certain cues built in for the rest of them. If I decide to improvise all of a sudden, they're going to be like in the parking lot looking for their keys, right? Like, so I got to kind of like, there's certain, but then there's other ones where you just got to block a time. And I'll have like a rough idea of what I want to do, but I rarely play the same thing every night. And that's for where I pick my spots is
Hmm.
solo moments, right?
Yeah,
Where
when
it's
you get to cut loose a bit, right?
cut loose, exactly, right? You know,
Yeah. Well, to answer Quentin's question, um, my dream in life has always been to be in a either a Black Sabbath cover band, an Iron Maiden cover band, or a Judas Priest cover band, or a band, or maybe a Deep Purple cover band, or maybe a band that plays all of that stuff. Is there an audience for that? There is, but like it's not your typical like maybe downtown Toronto, our big city around here. Like there might be some clubs that would like that kind of cover band and all that, but that's not necessarily mass appeal. That's more niche, right? So I think the same rules apply. And I've seen some great tribute bands like that play like Stone Temple Pilots covers only. Like I saw a phenomenal one, and they lined up their sets just perfectly, right? They did the same thing. They kept the crowd up and going, just playing STP numbers. Like so, if you're not a fan, you're not gonna like it. So be it, right?
Spencer's got a question for both of us. He's asking, how do you deal with lower back pain from standing up playing for an hour and a half? Um, I have back issues, Spencer. I don't know. Lately, I've not though. I've my back, at least from playing the guitar, has not really bothered me. But there was a time when it did, and I mean, you know the channel real well, so I'm a Les Paul guy. But I'll play a lighter guitar. I'll play an SG, or I'll play my PRS or something, or the Meteora doesn't weigh a hell of a lot. That's basically it. Like what I find too, like I mean, I try to exercise regularly, just to kind of strengthen up my core. I actually went to the gym today. I try to go 3 times a week, stuff like that. Just to kind of strengthen your core so that everything is not just your back. You got a little bit of underneath the keg, there's a little bit of muscle in there that kind of keeps you upright. Or just use lighter guitars. But yeah, there's times when my back is acting up, and it's yeah. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you remember I went through about 2 years of sciatic back pain consistently, and it was hell on earth, and it was hard to play shows and stand up with a guitar. So I used lighter guitars too. What solved it for me was basically what you said, Hack, was just some strength conditioning. To be honest, what did it for me is something silly that I wouldn't recommend, which is I went to martial arts training. to get that strength and sort of some of the stances and positions in that really helped my core strength and my lower back strength and that through time. And honestly, I was really stressed out. I think stress affects your back pain too, depending on what you're going through in life, right? So some exercise, some stress relief, and I'm right as rain. I don't worry about it too much anymore. I just try and lift things properly and
Yeah.
keep up with my
Watch
exercise.
your back when you're carrying that lifting that amp out of the back of the car. Lift with your legs, not your back. That
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are used to being younger and stronger, right? Where you could just
Yes.
torque it out, right? Like no, or using your arms or whatever, right? But
Well,
no.
Don's joined us and is saying sounds like it isn't much fun. Actually, it's a lot of fun, Don. So, I mean, I didn't, when I said there's like 15 songs that I really like playing. I mean, but the thing is, what I like is I like playing live music. I like playing with a band. I like, I mean, for me, really, it's all about the drums. I love playing with a human live breathing drummer. And when we're locked, it's all about the drums. Like, I mean, and I've been playing with this same drummer now, done so many gigs with this same drummer that, I mean, he accents everything that we're just like in locked, and that's what I really enjoy. It's the tightness, it's the familiarization, it's the sort of the little nuances and cues that happen, when you're creating this sound, you know. And if I don't know, it's a sad thing to say, but it's true. The only time I notice a bass is if the wrong note is played. The only time I'll notice a guitar, the other guitar, is if there's a bum note. And the rest of it I'm oblivious, because to me it's just one uniform sound, and what I focus on is the drums. I play with the snare, and that's the machine for me. And I just love doing it. And then the other great part is just seeing getting, you're bringing joy to people. They're up, they're dancing, they're having a good time, they're enjoying themselves, because I mean, well, we don't do Friday gigs often, but when we used to do Friday gigs, like you get home on a Friday, oh man, fuck, I got a gig tonight, man. I don't feel like going. You're dragging your ass, you bring your shit, you hook it up. But then once you start playing and the crowd is into it, it's like, man, you're just like, right away you've gone from zero to hero. Like you're just feeling like $1,000,000. That's really what, for me, that's what it's all about. I mean, and then you're on break and somebody will come up and say, hey man, I like the way you played there, or like this or that, and like, hey, thanks. You having a good time? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or even better, we'll have, when you get folks that will literally travel from bar to bar just to come and see you. And to this day, I still scratch my head. I'm like, didn't you just see us like 2 weeks ago or whatever, or last week? And you're back. Oh, I love the way you guys play. I love your stuff and this and that. I still, that doesn't compute in here. Like I can't. That stuff doesn't register. I'm just glad that there's an audience. Somebody's filling the
Yeah.
seats.
Well,
So
there's a lot of fun to be had in spreading good
oh,
vibes.
oh yeah,
A lot of times I turn my brain off when I'm playing, a easy song, and I just watch I watch the crowd,
yeah,
just like, it's a great experience when you're on stage because like you can, at any moment, like you can be in any moment. You can be thinking about your guitar. You can be locking with the bass, the drums. You can watch the crowd. Some sexy girl, walks by, like whatever. There's a million things. Like it's so entertaining up there, and for me, it's not just fun. It's a goddamn mission in life because I've always been really shy and introverted, and getting up there with a guitar and like rocking out, like it's a bit of a punch up your butt. Basically, it's a boost in confidence, right?
yeah, oh, yeah, for
Uh,
sure. Yeah,
it's like, yeah, I am a serious guitar player. I've invested stupid amounts of time and money in this, and this is what it's all about. It's to play for people and create this good vibe, this energy, this circle. You know, you feed off the crowd, they feed off you. It's a beautiful thing. There's no, for me, there's no better form of entertainment out there. You know, except maybe except maybe boxing. I really like boxing, but
You know,
uh,
yeah, it's like you know you finish your set and everybody's hooping and hollering, whatever.
yeah,
Then I'll
big
just go
energy
sit,
raise.
and then
Yeah,
yeah, and then I'll just go sit at my table, quiet,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and then hey, and they, you know, hey, thanks.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's not, you know, it's like you put it, that's
Oh, you leave it on the stage, right?
leave it up there. You don't, you know,
Yeah, you don't walk
yeah,
around like a dick afterwards,
no,
or you don't, and you don't walk around moping around either. Like, oh, I'm so depressed to be here. Like, it's
yeah,
too bad I got to play this sucky gig. Like, nah,
yeah,
you know, you don't want to come across like that either, or you don't want to come across tired, you know, either. Like,
yeah,
there's a certain amount of it's like I liken it to like a little athletic event. You know, you got 3 sets. You know, like don't eat like you know don't eat big meals before like or in
oh, I
between.
always,
Depends on what you eat and how the state of your stomach. But you know, like I've had
hey,
sets ruined where guys are just like, oh crap, and it's just like, like literally, oh crap, you
yeah,
know, and that just derails a set, right? Like, you know, like
yeah,
nature.
yeah. I mean, and even if you're playing songs that, you know, you're not that happy about, just the fact that you're playing them with a live band in front of people, that kind
Yeah,
of goes away, you know,
yeah, yeah,
and you're pouring as much into those as the other ones where you're rocking out, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, the flow continues through. Yeah, yeah. If it's feeling good, you just you know keep that good, right?
Yeah,
And being set up for that with your sets, right? Like you know, make sure they go smooth because that's how you have that fun, right? That's how you create the arena where you're gonna have some excitement and you know you're bringing a show to someone. Like to me, going to a show and seeing a live band play is like it's a big deal. You know, like wow, let's see what these guys can do, right?
you know what's cool too is, and again, this is just something from doing it, you know, with the same guys for so long, is just it's so tight, it's so locked in, it's so you can change stuff on the fly. You know,
Yeah.
if somebody forgets a lyric,
Mhm.
somebody's on the mic covering them. Somebody
Yeah.
hits a bum chord, or you know, has a brain fart, because that happens. You know, the rest of us carry on, right? You know what I mean? It's like it's a machine, you know, and
Well, it's
it's
a high level of experience, rehearsal. You know, putting in time, right? Like you want to get every cover band wants to get to that level where you know, like we were talking before, it's like the agility. You know, just being able to you know switch on a dime, right?
yeah,
Move things in and out. You know, maybe the crowd's like a little tired, or you got to pump in some of your more high energy shots, right? Like
yeah.
you know, you got to
Don's,
pull those songs in, right?
sorry, Don's asking, do people give you a lot of shit for not playing the request? Not really. You know, what sometimes people will ask, what what we get sometimes is like, we've, you know, it's we're down to say our last 5 songs of the night, and somebody will walk in and they'll get all upset with you because you're finishing, right?
Hmm.
Or they'll ask for a song that you played like an hour ago.
Yeah,
And it's like, you know, hey man, you know, we're not here to do a personal show for you. We've been here for the last, you know, since whatever. So sometimes you're like, oh, like this, whatever. But you know,
yeah. People get grumpy. I had one guy got pretty mad.
oh yeah,
Yeah, he's a massive Pearl Jam fan, and I was like, we've already played 2 Pearl Jam songs, and he's just like, come on, he just wouldn't let off, and I'm like, and he
yeah,
just gets off in a huff and like, you know,
yeah, yeah.
screw you guys, you suck. You know, okay,
Well,
have a good night.
sometimes at the end of the night, like when I'm wiped out, and you get the people coming in and say, you know, like, you're okay, you know, this is the last one, and you finish, oh, one more, one more, one more, one more. All right,
Yeah,
so, you know, okay, so then we pull out. You know, we've got a couple, you know, like a little mini. we have our set list, and then we have encores, right?
Yeah, your spares. Yeah,
Spares, right? And we'll throw, but they're all like, up tempo, whatever
burners. Yep.
burners, right? And then we'll do that, and then but by that time, like I'm just like just full bore, man. I just whatever's left, it's all out there, right? Like ended guitar solos and big finishes and all that.
Yeah.
It's the end of the night, you're all loud, cranked up, and you're just rocking.
Hmm.
But once it gets to a certain point, no more, one more song is no more songs. We're done.
Uh,
Like,
you guys are
that's
only getting paid so much. The
well,
gas
it's
is
not just that, but I'm tired.
the tank is out of gas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's more it. Like I'm tired, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like we do this because we love it. Because I mean, we're bringing, well, you're bringing a hell of a lot more, you know, gear than I am to a gig. I mean, but
No,
all this,
I'm bringing less.
well, okay, but I mean, yeah, but it costs all those
My
my shit,
band is bringing more though.
right? So like I'm
Uh,
bringing amps and guitars and whatever. I'm bringing like I don't know 5-6 grand worth of stuff, and
yeah.
I'll walk out of there with a sandwich, a beer, and $100. So if
Yeah.
that's not loving doing it for the love of it, I don't know what
Yeah.
is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All
Yeah.
the driving, the unloading, the sound checking.
Yeah. Plus
You
all the
know,
rehearsals in between that we're paying out of pocket for. So really, you're not making any money if you think about it. Paying for
no,
rehearsals,
you're doing it. Yeah, yeah. There's no money in it.
there's no money in it. No, zero. Right. So
No, so it's got to be for another reason, which is the fun, right? And just
yeah,
like I was saying, I got a motivation to get up in front of people and like challenge myself to, you know, learn these cool songs and not so cool songs and get. That's what a professional musician does. Not that I'm a professional, but like you aspire to, you try and punch above your weight, right? You try something you want to aspire to be, right? And so, but yeah, like the whole thing with controlling the crowd and it's like I consider a good cover band direct competition is a good DJ, right?
yeah,
And like especially in terms of the set lists and like the amount of work like involved in being a band versus being a DJ, but the bars, some of them don't care, like some of them would just rather hire DJs and stuff. So there's still that competition, and it's like relating that back to our topic, like for a DJ a set list is like no problem, right?
yeah.
It's way harder for a band to come up with a good set list. We got any questions in the chat there?
Yeah, I'm just reading one. So Spencer's saying, "Don't you love it when they ask for songs that you're not equipped to sing?" We got asked to do Rush the other night. Yeah, yeah, we get that the odd time. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Why don't you guys play some Queen? Like
like Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, Marty Martin. Welcome to the channel. That's a new name. It says 5 bars in my small village. And when there's a band, people don't come in till it's half over. Then they shout more and more, pisses off the bar owners. They get half full in other. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It happens. It happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
That's I mean go
yeah.
ahead, sorry.
Again, just getting back to the whole thing about set lists. Yeah, I mean, everybody, the way we do it, everybody brings in songs. We try them out. Sometimes they get rejected before we try them, but the ones that get accepted, we try them. If we can play them and they sound decent and
Yeah.
we think it'll work, it will be in the set list. But one thing that we never do is we never put something in without us being like we're like we can nail it, or
Yeah.
where you're not thinking about what you're playing, right? And then we'll put in this, and he'll write on the set list, debut of this one, debut of that one, debut of
Hmm.
whatever. And then we see what the crowd response is, and if this response is good, that stays in there. And if not so good, we'll give it a couple more tries, and then eventually it goes out. So there's that, and then there's places if you've never played there before, you kind of like come up with something that you think will kind of work generally. But if you've been there before, you can kind of tweak it. What really surprises me, was some of the places we play, like the place we played 2 weeks ago. The place you were there the other time we were there.
Yeah.
It's a younger crowd, and what really surprises me is, we're doing like 60 stuff and 70, and they're like eating it up. There's like
Hmm.
that really surprises me because I mean we do a couple of like more modern songs, right?
Right.
When I say modern, I mean, in the 2000s, right? You
Yeah.
know, but some like sometimes you just. I remember the first time we played this other place, and it was again a bunch of like 20 somethings, right? And we're like, oh my god, we're gonna bomb. They're gonna hate us. And we started playing like stuff like Jenny and Jesse's Girl, and they lost their shit. Like
Yep.
it's oh, I remember that my mom plays that in her car, or whatever.
Oh
It's like
yeah.
parents' music, and they were like, "What?" Like it was crazy. So sometimes you never even know, right? What's
Yeah.
gonna work and what's not, right?
A lot of that music is new to them, right? Or newish, or they heard it or something, and
Yeah,
and a lot of the songs have got great hooks in them. So like there's enough in there to to attract a young audience. I think and it's like the novelty of live music. Like, oh my God, it's
yeah,
out of COVID times, like. There's some bad amateurish cover bands out there, and some
oh
bad
boy,
open mics and stuff like that, where you see a bunch of people get up there that are just trying to play and have fun playing music, and that's all fine and dandy. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
But when you're trying to like play a pub or a bar that's trying to make money, your job is to help them make money, right, and keep the crowd drinking and happy. So it's set lists are very hard. Like it's not. I shouldn't say it's very hard. It depends on a lot on what we talked about, like the band chemistry. Like what kind of place you're playing. Like making sure you got a good flow. The
yeah,
durability of the band. You know, um, and it's a lot. It's intimidating for bands that are starting out or restarting or building, right?
yeah,
It takes a lot of effort to get to that point, but that process can be fun. Like it's what you make out of it, right? I just glad that I don't have to come up with set lists, because it's like all this. As soon as a set list goes up, it's like, I don't like this song, or let's change this, let's change that. I tend to stay out of those discussions. I just want to read what's in front of me and kind of just blast through that, and do whatever tap dancing I need to do in between.
yeah. Fortunately, like we've been doing it so much that we kind of our set lists, we because you
Changes a
mean
little, but not
well,
much, right?
it no, it changes, but you're looking like maybe 4 or 5 songs are going to be different from one to the next. We might bring in an old one that we haven't done in a while, and whatever. But
That's
I
good.
mean,
That's
but
good for you guys too, to keep it fresh.
oh yeah, for sure. But the thing is, like, to chisel down to where you have okay, these are all, and the reason why they're in there is they're all tried and true, right?
Yeah.
Ideally you want every song to be what I call it money, right? Like it's
Yeah.
just gonna work,
Bulletproof.
right? And we have songs in there that we know these are 100% true fire songs,
Yeah.
right? I mentioned one of them earlier, but that song always
Yeah.
works.
Don't give away all your secrets.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other thing too, what we'll do is in the third set, to keep people up and going, is we don't even stop between songs. So you can call it a medley, but really it's not. It's just the drums keep going, and we literally go song into song into song. I'll end on one chord, and that'll be the first chord to the next one, and we just keep
Yeah.
going.
That's
You
a
know,
cool trick. Yeah.
stuff like that, right? Because you literally, and they're all sing along songs.
Yeah. You just take people for a ride.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a little bit of creativity in there as well, which I can't take credit for that, but there is some creativity in there. Cecil Music was saying, if you're driving to rehearsals, you're actually coming out, and yeah, oh, definitely, Cecil. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're not. You don't do this for the money. You do it for the love of playing live music, basically. I expect a cover band to do a solo note for note. That's how I rate them. Well, Marty, you wouldn't rate me very well then, because I rarely do that.
I do too, Marty. Depending on the solo, right?
Yeah,
If I'm hearing Journey, especially if a band has the balls to take on Journey, I want to
right.
hear that. I want to hear that Neil Sean solo.
Well, I do a Journey song
Uh,
with the other band I'm in, and I play the opening because the like for me, I listen for the hooks, and the
yeah,
opening is definitely a hook, and I'll play that.
yeah,
But then it's just a lot of really rapid fire notes, and I'll
yeah.
basically play. I'm playing the same, but maybe slightly different flurry, but it still
In the
sounds
same, in
in
the
the same.
same,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Yeah. So you know, I don't think Neil Sean plays it exactly the same way every night either. So
Probably not.
the argument. But if you're playing like a slow solo, like if you're doing like we do Highway to Hell, right?
Yeah,
You got to play that perfectly. You got to play that.
yeah. There's no
That's
excuse.
slow solo. It's not like there's a and you're not there's it's all like very slow and everything has its place. So that one is one that I would play note for note, right? Jesse's Girl, that's an iconic solo, right? That's Neil Giraldo. I play that one note for note, right? But other ones, man, if there's wiggle room, I'm taking it. I'm
Oh
taking it.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, and Don makes a good note. I think note for note is asking too much for what these guys are getting paid. Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, I could
Hmm.
learn a song. I could most songs I can learn in about 10, 15 minutes. If I had to learn every solo note for every song, then that would be like I don't know hours per song. And when you're walking into a bar and you're gonna drop 50 songs and that's 50 solos note for note, uh, no, I can't do it. I just cannot do it. Yeah. Yeah, fairly close, Marty. Yeah, fairly close. We're in the same vein. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I get as close as I can. I can't say I go for. I do go for no, but I know I won't end up there. Like, so you end up somewhere, hopefully in the same lane, in the same ballpark.
Yeah, and
Um,
using the same, and sonically,
yeah,
you
same tones, kind of
the
thing.
tones are kind of, in that same, right? Because
Yeah,
I'm talking about bar bands that are like because there's a lot of them now. Right now, it's like there's a lot of demand and maybe not that much supply. So there are bands that are going out that, I don't know, they just maybe they're new or whatever, but guitar players who like use one sound for every song the whole night. I don't know. And they're playing all these different and I don't know. I don't know how you would use like an 80s metal tone and play Brown Eyed Girl. I don't know how that's even possible. But
I
I've
can see it.
I've seen people doing it, right? And it's, yeah, you got to dynamics, sounds, you got to be kind of at least in the ballpark of what the actual song is. Otherwise, people just don't. What are they playing? What song is that? It's got to be recognizable, right? Or they're not going to get
Yeah.
up. You know.
Yeah, it goes to the ear fatigue thing about planning your set lists, right? Like if your sound is the same and like blaring all the same, and
Yeah,
yeah, that contributes to the ear fatigue thing in this and messes up with the flow, right?
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, we're at the hour, so I want to thank. We got 22 people in here. Cecil Music, Spencer, Don, Paul Lou's in here.
Hey, Paul.
Marty Martin, welcome. Charlie S, welcome. Thanks for checking out the show. We'll see how this show does. And Dwight Bailey's with us.
Hey, Dwight.
Starman 45. How are you? Yeah, and yeah, if this one does as well as the last one, there'll be one next month. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in and checking out the show. Uh, if you're new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing, and do yourself a favor and check out Denskill's channel. I have the link below. He's got some really good nerdy gear videos, but he's also got some really cool original music. So go and check that out as well. And then hang on for a minute, and I'm going to bid everybody adieu. Have a great week, everybody. Oh, on the Hack channel in about 2 weeks. We're going to be doing a top five rating of top five albums of Accept with myself, Pete, and Martin Popoff, and that will be the last Wednesday of October. So check out that show. Have you got anything you want to mention coming up, Dan?
No, all good.
All good. All right. Okay, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.